viewers, by now you must have heard about telephone conversation between Ethiopian PM Abiy and Tigray President Debretsion Gebremichael. Question is, what does this development indicate? Are things heading in the right direction? How will PM Abiy and Debretsion Gebremichael convince and take their supporters on board? I want to make 5 important points about this development. Firstly, PM Abiy Debretsion phone call is a proof that indirect talks between Ethiopian government and Tigray regional government have been underway for some time. Though officially Ethiopian government has been denying any engagement with TPLF leaders with Tigray government, but obviously this phone call did not come out of the blue. It means groundwork was being prepared for months, and the two delegations have been holding regular talks. I have been updating you about indirect talks in Nairobi, Kenya. It seems that all the reporting was correct. There were several rounds of indirect talks, and after that PM Abiy and Debretsion talked last week. Secondly, viewers, this phone call indicates that some progress has been made in the ongoing talks at delegation level. Had there been no progress made in delegation level talks, there wouldn't have been this phone call. So talks between Tigray government and Ethiopian federal government, they have made some progress, not considerable progress, but some progress. It means that they are moving in the right direction. Thirdly, I want to make a point about legitimacy of Tigray government and Ethiopian federal government. If you remember, we have been seeing statements from both sides. Ethiopian federal government rejected regional election held in Tigray, I think in September 2020. And Debretsion was elected as president of the region, but Ethiopian federal government rejected the election. Then last year, general election was held in June. PM Abiy was elected as the PM of the country, but this election was rejected by Tigray government. So both parties were rejecting each other as legitimate players in this conflict. It means this phone call indicates now that for PM Abiy, Debretsion is the head of Tigray government, and for Tigray, Abiy is the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. So both sides have indirectly acknowledged legitimacy of the other side. It's a very important development. We know that TPLF is a terrorist organization according to Ethiopian law. In, I think, May last year, Ethiopian government declared TPLF and OLA as terrorist outfits. So now Ethiopian PM Abiy talked to the head of a terrorist outfit last week, we can say. And Debretsion talked to a fake prime minister, as Tigray leaders have been saying, a genocider they have been saying. But I don't want to criticize their past statements. It's a good development that the two leaders have talked. But it shows that they have acknowledged the legitimacy of each other. Fourthly, I want to make a point about how these talks will be seen by the supporters of Tigray government and Ethiopian federal government. Can PM Abiy and Debretsion take their supporters on board. We have been hearing dissenting voices against talks in Tigray and at federal level as well. Tigray opposition parties have been accusing TPLF-led government of taking solo flight. We have seen statements from Salse Voyene from Tigray Independence Party that they were not part of decision making regarding solution to Tigray conflict. So there were questions about inclusiveness of the decision making process of Tigray government. Now when this call has happened, will Debretsion Gebremichael take all political leadership of Tigray on board or not? That remains to be seen. What about PM Abiy? We know that some groups in the Amhara region, they have been strongly opposing any contact, any engagement with Tigray People Liberation Front, with Tigray government. How are they going to receive this development? That remains to be seen. And Afar as well. We have seen some protests in Afar within the past 48 hours. People are not happy. They are calling for intervention. They want Ethiopian federal government to intervene in Afar region. How would Afar people see this development? So it's the first step in the right direction. Now it's up to PM Abiy and Debretsion Gebremichael to take their support base on board, to widen the process of consultation and discussion to make these talks acceptable for all players to this conflict. Regional governments, some groups, some hardliners, all should be taken on board in order to make these talks fruitful. And lastly, viewers, now when it has been officially confirmed, not officially, but a journalist broke this news. Now it has been almost confirmed because we have not seen any denial so far from Ethiopian federal government or from Tigray government. Now the question, viewers, is how to protect this process from saboteurs. Yes, there would be some elements that would try to sabotage this process of talks. They wouldn't want this process to be fruitful. They might have some genuine grievances. They might be against some parties to this conflict. How to keep this process transparent, how to keep it open, how to save it from saboteurs, that is now a challenge for both leaders, for both governments. Personally, I see this development as a very positive development. It's the first time since November 2020 that two top leaders of Tigray region and Ethiopian federal government, they have contacted. It means they have realized that armed escalation is not the solution to this conflict. Ethiopian government has realized it because Ethiopian government knows that its economy is under serious stress. It cannot go on like this. People are suffering. Food prices have gone up. Unemployment, inflation on the rise. The government is under pressure. Amhara regional government does not have money to pay their forces. We saw a protest from a brigade of Amhara Special Force 2 days ago. People don't have money. Regional governments, federal government don't have money. They need money, and in order for this money to come, there must be peace. So federal government has realized that armed escalation will further damage the economy. Tigray government has realized that if this siege goes on, it could be devastating. It's already paralyzing entire Tigray. People, tens of thousands, millions are in need of dire humanitarian assistance. Tigray government says that people are dying of hunger. So both sides have realized that armed escalation is not a solution to this conflict. Better sense has prevailed. Now, this process is very subtle, it's very fragile. How to strengthen it, how to reinforce it with other CBMs, confidence building measures. We could see some CBMs. I think we have seen some CBMs in the past few days. Ethiopian federal government has allowed delivery of aid to Tigray by air. We are seeing flights on regular basis, though flights were suspended 3 days ago. Then last night, once again, we heard about a flight from UAE carrying 25 to 30 tons of aid arrive in Mekelle. So Ethiopian federal government is showing some signs of giving relief to Tigray. It's a confidence building measure that aid agencies have been allowed to provide aid by air. Yes, by road aid is still blocked due to different reasons, but by air road is being allowed into Tigray. So we are seeing some confidence building measures from both sides. Coming days very crucial. Again, I'm saying that how to keep this process protected from saboteurs, that is the most important challenge for both the parties to this conflict. Thank you for watching.